Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. In today's video, we're going to be talking about Luminosity makes moves Miami. It was a super major that happened this weekend, and you guessed it, Miami. And this event was pretty stacked. Pretty much all of NA's top talent came out, and for our top 16 finishers, you're going to have Neo, MKLeo, Apollo Kage, and Anathema in 13th, WebJP, Karama, Riddles, and Tweak in 9th. In 7th place, you're going to have Zomba and Meister. 5th place, Vudes and Cola. 4th place, Shattuck. 3rd place, DeBuzz. 2nd place, now, we do have to talk about a couple underperformances. You're going to have Big D falling at 30-30, lose to Cyclex, who's a really good Nest player in the winner side, and Epic Gabriel in the loser side. It's not the end of the world sometimes, especially when you're playing Ice Climber. You're just going to get a bracket that's kind of unlucky. I don't think either of these matchups were particularly unwinnable, but it happens. You're going to have Light falling at 25th. This one is a pretty big deal. I think this is his worst placement post-quarantine, which is pretty absurd. That's only 25th, but he ends up dropping a set to WebJP in the winner side, and then Apollo Kage in the loser side. WebJP, it's a bad loss right now, but I think WebGP is going to continue rising the rankings if he keeps going to stuff because he looked incredible at this tournament. We'll get to him in a little bit. And Apollo Kage, you can't feel too bad about that one. Obviously, it's not amazing, especially when Light is a top 10 player in the world, and it's definitely going to hurt his ranking, but it's not the end of the world. It's not like he has two unranked losses to nobody players and like a 95th or something. It's 25th. He'll bounce back, I'm sure. Other big ones, you're going to have MKLeo again at 13th place. He ends up losing to Shattuck and Karama. Another Mario lost to him. I actually didn't think he would lose to Karama, though, just because historically, MKLeo's been really good in the run back versus Mario, so clearly a bit of a mental barrier right there. And then Shattuck was just on an absolute tear this event. And then aside from that, there weren't any massive underperformances. Like, yeah, you're going to have Tweak and Riddles both missing out on top 8, but they both only lost to top 10 players in the world. I mean, Tweak ends up losing to the Buzz, who's arguably not 10, and then Shattuck, or rather Zomba, in the loser side, and Riddles is the one who loses to Shattuck in the loser side, and then sonix in the winner side. So neither of them are going to be getting bad losses, but it is a little weird to not see them in the top 8. And you actually had a lot of really impressive runs at this tournament. You're going to have Tavares, who ends up getting 17th place. He's one of the best Mario players in the world. He just literally goes to nothing, so it was nice to see him here. Beast Mode Paul, another event where he looked really strong, was able to beat Kobe and Duno, as well as taking a game off the Buzz, which I feel like is a really tough matchup to do so in, so shouts to him for that. You're going to have a little bit of a small return from Rivers, who was able to beat Tarek. Tarek ends up getting 33rd, as well as Justice and Seabrick, or Sebrick. I'm not actually super sure how you say that one. You're going to have Quid, nice return from him, ends up getting 17th place with wins on MK, Big Boss, and Kairos. A really nice run that I was impressed by was Gilhu. This was his first time, I believe, outside of Mexico, so shouts to Meister for flying him and Superdog down, but he ends up getting wins on both C and Tilde before losing to Epic Gabriel, so he got 25th at a major of this caliber with Kirby, which is actually pretty insane. Did outplay Jeja as well, so, you know, the debate of best Kirby, maybe it'll never be super solid, but if you do want to have an argument for Gilhu, I mean, you look at this tournament for sure. But arguably, the run of the tournament has to go to WebJP. He initially wasn't even supposed to get top 64 winner side. He was supposed to lose to Goblin, was able to make that upset, then made the biggest upset of the tournament, I think, over Light, and then right after that was also able to beat Neo. Just barely wasn't able to get into the top 8, losing to Cola and Meister, and you can't feel too bad about either of those losses. WebJP looks so impressive this event, and honestly, the main critique I'd even have for him is that he looked too optimal. There was a lot of situations where he probably could have just gone for the easy stuff, maybe not get the guaranteed kill or as much damage, but he would go for the optimal thing every single time, and to his credit, he was hitting it a majority of the time, which is why he was able to play so high this tournament. I would definitely call him the best Sheik in America. I feel like it's been like that for a long time now. Starting to make arguments, though, for the best Sheik in the world, maybe take that title finally from IM. It feels like he's been sitting on it pretty much since Void retired, even though Mr. R did have a really nice streak right there, but WebJP, he looked phenomenally, showing us what late game Sheik can do. And really quickly, before we do move on to the top 8, I gotta give a shout out to Apollo Kage. He was able to pick up wins on Peanut, Light, and Aaron, only losing to Neo and Vides. Apollo Kage is a player that I feel like isn't getting a ton of credit right now just because Hurt has been performing so well, but he's still the best Snake player in America. I don't want to say by far because there's a lot of really good Snakes, but he definitely is the best one. He could still be the best Snake in the world. He just has been having a little bit of trouble getting into these top 8s as of late. I think he only has one top 8 through the entire year, at least at a major, which was going to be Summit. So I feel like the second that he gets into another top 8, he's going to snowball those and become like a top 30, top 20 player in the world again. Also, before we get into the topic, I just gotta shout out how hyped the top 64 for this event was specifically. This was one of the best, if not the best, top 64s of an event that I've watched this entire year, so I highly recommend that you go watch some of those sets. But in the top 8, you're gonna have Meister and Zomba as our 7th place finishers. Now, Zomba had to make a little bit of a loser's run. He was able to beat his bracket demon MVD, who he was previously 0-3 against, which gotta feel super good. And then he ran into Cola, who had taken a massive break, and that has also been someone that he struggled to historically lift. Did not end up winning that set, but in the losers bracket was able to beat Luis, Neo, and Tweak. He's 3-0-1 Tweak now these past 3 encounters. So honestly, I think calling Zomba the best player in America at this point is probably just true. I don't think he'll be the best player in America throughout the entirety of the 2023 season unless he keeps this up, just because some of his starting results weren't super great. But the way that he's been playing in these past couple months, he has just been so good. So massive shouts to Zomba for the run. Meister as well. We haven't seen him at a major event in a little bit, and he had a really nice performance. He was able to beat Yuno, then ends up losing to the Buzz, and that's probably the worst person in the entire world could have gotten. Maybe MKLeo would have been a little bit worse, but the Buzz definitely a tough draw. Then he was able to beat Quid, Anathema, and WebJP to be able to get into the top 8. Meister doesn't get talked about a lot anymore just because Mia is top 3 in the world and has been owning, but he's still such a phenomenal player, and I honestly could see him being top 20 in the world if he keeps this up. In 5th place, you're going to have Cola and Mutace, the grand return of Cola. He was able to pick up wins on Cycelex, Zomba, and WebJP before losing to Spargo and Shattuck. And at least from my part, there was a little bit of speculation on who Cola was actually going to play this event. Was it going to be Cloud? Was it going to be Aegis? Was it going to be maybe Snake? But no, it was solo Roy. And it's been a while since we've seen Roy top 8 at Major, and it makes sense because Roy's best rep had stopped playing the game. So hopefully we get to see more of Cola. And I feel like if we do get to see more of Cola, the public opinion around Roy is just bound to go up because this guy is so good at this game, and he's so good with this character. You need that really fast, aggressive style of Roy, and nobody does it better than Cola. And finishing 5th place alongside him is going to be Mutace. He was able to pick up a win on Wrath in the winner's side, which I feel like people aren't talking about enough because that matchup is actually pretty difficult for Peach. And then he ends up losing to Riddles, who historically he has been pretty good against, but not the end of the world. Was able to beat Atreus, Apollo Cogging, and Kurama to be able to get into the top 8. Once in the top 8, he managed to beat Meister again, which is absolutely crazy. That matchup is so bad for Peach, and it's the second time that he's done it this year. I don't know if it's Meister being bad at the matchup or Mutace being good at the matchup. Well, it's definitely Mutace being good at the matchup, and then he does end up losing to the Buzz, but another consistent result for Mutace. It feels like every video I'm repeating myself like a broken record, but Mutace has become so consistent. He's one of the most consistent players in America, which is so crazy. If you even look at halfway through the year, if you said that, people would laugh at you. But Mutace has just been doing so well at all these events, and everyone else in America, aside from Zombo, really hasn't been on that trend. So if Mutace is able to keep it up, I could definitely see him being top 10 in the world. In 4th place, you're going to have Shattuck. 3rd place to Buzz. Shattuck was able to pick up wins on Tilde, then ends up losing to Spargo in the winner's side. Can't feel too bad about that one. Then beats Rivers, MKLeo, and Riddles to be able to get into the top 8. Once in the top 8, he's not done. He beats Zomba and Cola before losing to the Buzz in a Game 5 set. Shattuck has been insane. He gets 9th place at SmashCon, top 8's Rise and Grind, top 8's Big House, now he top 8's this event, top 4's this event, arguably the best core in the world. It's definitely between him and Neo, and recently, I would give it to Shattuck. Overall for the year, I'd still give it to Neo though, just because Shattuck did start a little bit slower, but you gotta give Shattuck massive props that he wasn't doing super great at the start of 2023. He's a young player that can definitely hurt the mental, but he bounced back just insanely hard, and now he's doing the best that he's ever been. And honestly, I think this trend is going to keep up. Corn looks absolutely broken in both him and Neo's hands, and I really just can't see what these guys are going to continue doing. In 3rd place, though, you're going to have the Buzz picking up wins on Beast Mode, Paul, Meister, and Tweak to be able to get into the top 8. Once in the top 8, he was also able to pick up wins on Mutace and Shattuck, only losing to Spargo and Sonix, which you can't feel too bad about that one. Only the best of the best can beat the Buzz, and it really feels like he's back to prime the Buzz. Top 8ing every single event, getting far in most of these top 8s as well. He just looks like such a scary player. And outside of that little blip that he had at Rise and Grind, and then that one bad placement he had at Japan, the latter half of his 2023 season has been so good. He had a couple weaker ones towards the start, but there's nothing that's super bad from the Buzz. It feels like that he can be top 10 in the world. Again, he's going to have to keep up some of these good performances, but to be honest, I think he can do it. And our grand finalists are the two people that you probably expected to be Sonix and Spargo, the coin box grand finals. I know Sonix technically wasn't the second seed, but it's not a shock seeing him here at all. Was able to pick up wins on free K-Flock, Aaron, and Riddles to be able to get into the top 8. Once in the top 8, he was able to beat DeBuzz and Spargo in the winners finals. Then he does lose the reset and the initial set of grand finals, obviously. But both of those ended up going to Game 5, had 14 games played between the two. I mean, this is such a good rivalry in Smash Dolls, but they just go back and forth. You have Spargo on the Aegis for all of top 8. We'll get to that in just a little bit. But you also have Sonix qualifying for Watch the Throne of this event. He probably should have been initially invited just because he's so good, but he wasn't because, you know, Sonic, and also they wanted 2 people from every main region. So I get it, but now he has rightfully claimed his spot at the Watch the Throne, and he's definitely someone that could win the event. He is so good at this game. By far the best Sonic player, and Sonic is such a broken character, but not broken enough to beat Spargo this time around. Spargo was able to beat Epic Gabriel, Shattuck, and Kramen to be able to get into the top 8. Had a Game 5 set with Kramen. I believe he used all Cloud before top 8, and then once in the top 8, it was all Aegis. Went Game 5 with Cola, managed to win that one. Lost the first set versus Sonix, but then ends up beating DeBuzz 3-0 in the loser side, again with Aegis, and then in the grand finals, wins a Game 14 set, and just, he's so good. And I gotta say, it's a little bit nice to see Spargo winning. It feels like it's been forever since Spargo's won a big event. Now, obviously, it hasn't been that long. I think the last time was Delfino Mazza, but you have Spargo winning an event, you have Aquila winning an event, and you have Mia winning an event. The top 3 players in the world are just so dominantly the top 3 players in the world right now. It feels like no one can really beat these guys consistently. Like, yeah, I could see Gluttony taking sets, I can see Sonix taking sets, there's a couple other names that you could throw in there, but at the end of the day, you're just expecting Spargo and again Aquila to show up, and it's really important for Spargo's season that he does show up here, because he's definitely in jeopardy of losing his number 2 spot to Mia, because Mia's just been on a tear, and we'll talk about that in another video. But massive props to Spargo. It's always nice to see him taking an event, and I thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. The support has been absolutely unreal as of late. If there's anything I left out, something I got wrong, or if you just want to say hi, leave a comment down below. Be sure to sub, all that yada yada, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye!